Chapter 12. The Cage, by Ruth Minsky Sender. I am sure you're all eager to hear what I am doing here. I am searching for my family. I was so sure that they were all here waiting for me for the day that I would come home. He stops, takes a deep breath, swallows hard. The four of us wait silently. In the labor camp there were Jews and non-Jews from ghettos and prisons. They were sent there to build good roads for the German army to travel on. We worked very, very hard. The days were long and lonely. I felt that the hunger, the hard work, the hardship was all worthwhile. I was helping my family to survive. The commandant kept announcing that our hard work helped the people we left behind. The harder you work here, the more food your family receives, and we believed him. I became a model slave laborer, worked with all my strength. Last night, 5 of us were suddenly called to the commandment. We were all scared. You are being sent back to the ghetto. Lauds to your families. This is your reward for being such good workers. We stood there, frozen. No one was ever sent back to the ghetto. Was this some kind of excuse to keep us calm before they executed us? In front of the office, there was a horse and wagon ready and waiting. 3 guards sat on the wagon, rifles pointed at us. Get into the wagon fast before I change my mind, the commandant ordered. We got into the wagon, wondering all along the way where we were really going. To our surprise, they did bring us back here to the ghetto. They had the ghetto guards open the gates, shove us forward, and close the gates again behind us. I ran all the way here. I am going home, I shouted. I am going to see my mother, my sisters, my brothers again. I could feel my mother's arms around me. He swallowed hard again. Look what I found. All gone. My family is all gone. Silence, silence, such painful silence. Tell me, Shmulek says, tell me about my family. How did they look when they were sent away? Were they healthy? All the men at the labor camp were young, still strong enough to work. There were no women in that camp. They may have camps where women work, maybe my sisters. They are young, but my mother, what kind of work can my mother do? Where did they take her? I have nothing without them. Tomorrow I'll ask to be sent back to the slave labor. Maybe they will send me to the same camp. Maybe I will find them. We all feel his agony, his hope. Maybe if I had stayed here, if I had not left them alone, maybe they would still be here. It is my fault. I signed up for slave labor. I believed what I was told. My family was to get more food, a pension to help them survive. I was so sure that I was helping them. I did it all for... Shmulek! Motel cuts in sharply. Shmulek, stop this. You did what you had to do to help your family. For a while, they did get a pension. They did receive a little more in their food rations. Your mother missed you. She cried a lot, but she was also very proud of you. You left your home to help the people you love. You made a huge sacrifice. You cannot blame yourself. Shmulek, we all know that when they need new people to be sent out of the ghetto, they always find a reason for the new lists, Shmulek. His voice wavers. Shmulek. They make new lists every day. Who knows whose name will be next on the list? Who knows what tomorrow will bring? Moshe puts his arms on Shmulek's shoulders. We are happy to see you alive, Shmulek. Welcome back. Stay with us. Yes, yes, stay with us, Motelli and Labelli echo. Stay here. I feel myself blush. Yes, Shmulek has to be part of our family now, but he cannot sleep here with us. All eyes turn toward me. I look at Shmulek, searching for the right words. Shmulek, I am not sending you away. I only want you to sleep next door at my friend Henry's house. It may sound very silly to you, but I still care what people will say. You are a young man of 20. I, a young lady of 16. They will gossip, do you understand? I hope you do. I study his handsome face closely. With his dark eyes, black curly hair, and dark complexion, he looks like a movie star who is playing a part in which he is trying to rescue his loved ones and take them to freedom. Gently, he takes my hands in his. He looks at me, as if seeing me for the first time. A grin slowly covers his face, and there is a twinkle in his eyes. I understand, he says softly. Henry is a very nice young man. I feel more composed now. We went to school together. When Mrs. Gruber, a landlady, moved to the nicest part of Lodz as a Volksdeutsche, his family and 2 other families all moved together to Mrs. Gruber's 2-room apartment. There were 8 of them. Henry, his mother and father, a couple with a small baby, and a very young pair of newlyweds. They lived as one large family. Then Henry's mother died of tuberculosis. His father did not last very long afterward. He just faded away. The baby was taken away by the Nazis, and the mother lost her mind. They took her away. The father left on his own for the slave labor camps. He had nothing left. The other couple could not stand living in the house anymore. They had all been such close friends. Now Henry has the apartment to himself. I am sure he will be glad to have another human being in that lonely, empty apartment. Motelli goes to call Henry. He comes, a tall, skinny young man of 17 with earnest, somber eyes, and looks at Shmulek from behind his heavy glasses with sympathy and warmth. They shake hands, exchange greetings, and leave together. I sit down to write a letter. Dear Mama, I am not sure that I did right, sending Shmulek, who is all alone now, to the home of a stranger. I know some people feel that the moral codes we grew up with may not be any tomorrow, but I cannot feel that way, even if there is no tomorrow. I still care what people think, and I feel that I have to do what I think is right. I miss you so very much. I need you. I need your love. When you come home, when Malash and Ellie and Yaneli come back home, I do not want any of you to be ashamed of me. Your loving daughter, your Ruth Kelly. I put the letter in the drawer together with all the other letters never to be mailed. Chapter 13. A sharp knocking at the door wakes us. We hold our breath. We do not dare make a sound. It could be Nazis searching again for the sick, for children, for the old. The pounding at the door gets stronger. A voice, harsh and angry, calls, "Open up! This is the Jewish police. Open the door, or we'll break it open." Motelli opens the door. 4 policemen rush into the house. They push him aside roughly. "Where is Shmulek Nachtigal? We came to take him. Now, where are you hiding him? Tell us where he is." Their angry voices frighten me. What will they do to him if they find him? Why are they searching for him? Does he know something they wanted to keep secret? If he does, he did not say anything to us. Motelli looks at me. Our eyes meet in silent understanding. "Shmulek Nachtigal? He was sent to slave labor a year ago," he says. His voice is calm and composed. "We have not seen him since he was sent out of the ghetto." My heart is pounding violently. Will they believe him? We have never lied before. Can we get away with it? My mother's words kept running through my head. Always speak the truth. But if the truth will kill another human being, lie. We have to lie for the truth may cost Shmulek his life. The policemen were searching every corner of the house, a cellar, under each bed, inside each closet. They are pulling everything apart, dumping the clothes all over the floor like some sort of garbage. Why are they behaving like this? They too are Jews in the same cage, fighting for survival, and the strength to hold out until tomorrow, a tomorrow that will bring us all freedom and dignity. So why do they act as if they were the masters and we were the slaves? We are all slaves here. Why are you ruining our clothes and our house? What right do you have to treat your fellow Jews this way? Your lives are not any more protected than ours. Don't fool yourselves. If we survive, you will have to answer for your behavior. Remember? Remember that. I raise my voice in spite of my fear. Shmulek Nachigal is not in this house. You will not find anybody here except me and my 3 brothers, so start acting like fellow Jews. We are not the enemy here. One of the policemen stops for a moment. He looks at me closely, then looks at my brothers as if trying to decide whether he should get angry or ignore my outbursts. Shmulek Nachigal was sent back to the ghetto last night. He looked straight at me, watching for my reaction. It was a mistake. The commandant of the camp was drunk. He felt generous and sent 5 Jews back to the ghetto. Today he is sober, and he wants them back or else. The order is to bring them back. They may know too much. If we do not deliver the 5 men, they will take 5 of us. You see now, it is them or us. We found 3 men already. The people who live in the Nachtigal apartment now told us that you are Shmulek's only friends. You are the only people left here who know him. So he has to come to you. He has to come here. But he never came here, Motelli's voice is sure and unafraid. If he had, he would still be here. The policeman turns his head toward Labelli. He shouts, "Is it true? Where did you hide him? You tell me where he is, or I'll take you all in." Labelle looks frightened, confused. If he tells where Shmulek is, Shmulek may pay with his life. But if he doesn't, they may take us all. Motelli, outraged, stands in front of the policeman, now shouting, "You leave him alone. Can't you see he's sick? Must you frighten him? If you want to take someone in, take me. You leave my family alone." They stand there, both tense, strained, rigid, ready for battle. "All right," the other policeman breaks the tension. "We'll leave now, but we will return." They walk out of the house, slamming the door behind them. Looking toward the door, Motelli puts a finger on his lips. We get the message. They are standing behind the door listening. We all look at him with pride and admiration. "They are Minsky," Motelli says loudly, "searching for Shmulek here. It has been a year since he was sent to slave labor, and they are looking for him here. They will not find him in this house." We listen carefully for sounds behind the door. No sounds. After a few minutes, we hear footsteps slowly moving away from our door. We do not open the door for several hours. We are still not sure if they have really left the building, if it is safe to go to Henry's apartment to warn Shmulek. What if we are being watched? What if they do not believe us and are waiting for a wrong move? We look at one another. What can we do? We hope that Henry and Shmulek heard the commotion during the night and know that Shmulek is in danger. But how do we make sure? Suddenly, Motelli picks up the empty bucket for fetching water. The water pump stands in the middle of our yard. To reach it, he has to pass Henry's door. He walks slowly, speaking the angry voice loud enough to be heard behind closed doors. "Riva, you stay in the house while I get water. Don't be scared. The nerve of those policemen searching for Shmulek here. Did you hear what they said? They will take him back if they find him. If he is back in the ghetto, like they said, I hope he will stay put for a while. They may be waiting around in the neighborhood for a few days." I call back. They said, "This is the only place he may come to." Motelli fills the bucket with water and walks slowly back. At Henry's door, he suddenly turns his ankle and hits his foot against the bucket, kicking it hard enough, Henry's door dumping the water all over the hallway. "Now, look what I did. How careless of me. Riva, get a mop to wipe the floor, and I'll knock at Henry's door to tell him to be careful when he leaves the apartment. He may get hurt on the wet floor." He knocks at Henry's door calling, "It is Motelli. We have a problem this morning. I want you to be careful when you step into the hall. It is a mess." Henry opens the door, looks at the wet floor, looks around him. He gives Motelli a pat on the shoulder. "Don't worry, Motelli. I will not trip." "Henry," I call across the hall, "we have some coffee this morning. Come and have some with us. I'll manage a little more water to the pot, and then it will be enough for all trees." Oh, I am losing it. "Henry," I call across the hall, "we have some coffee this morning. Come and have some with us. I'll add a little more water to the pot, and it will be enough for all of us." "You sure you want to share your coffee with me? I feel guilty taking it away from you." "Henry, it is only colored water anyway, and a little more water will not change the color much, so you have nothing to feel guilty about," I say with a smile. "Well, you got a point there. I'll come over soon." He comes half an hour later, calmly walking across the hall and closing the door behind him slowly. "What happened last night?" he asks in a whisper. "We heard policemen knocking at your door. I was going to open the door when I heard the racket, but I remembered the ghetto rule. Wait and be sure before you open the door." We both heard whom they were searching for. I had to hold him back with all my strength. He was going to give himself up to protect us, protect you all. I begged him to wait and see. We stayed glued to the door, waiting, listening. Finally, we heard them leave. "He is not leaving my house until it is safe. I locked my door from the house with a padlock. He cannot leave. He will be safe for a while. We'll find a place for him. Later, I'll speak to my family, to my friend Mark. He lives alone too." My eyes are full of tears. Henry is risking his life for a stranger he met only last night. I take his hands in mine and press them to my lips. Thank you, Henry, thank you." A week later, Henry moves Shmulik to his friend's house. He stays hiding there for several weeks. We all share our food with Shmulik. They finally stop searching for him. He gets a job cleaning the outdoor toilets. He is the horse who pulls the wagon full of human excrement. Chapter 14. Winter. Bitter cold, icy winds, heavy snow. The windows are covered with thick ice coating. A cold wind blows freely through the apartment, pinching our faces with rigid fingers, leaving our cheeks and tips of our noses colored pink. LaBelle, covered up to the neck with a warm blanket, stares at the frozen windows with a faraway look. "Riva, remember the beautiful poems we learned in school about winter? They sounded so pretty while the house was cheerful and warm. How different they seem now." "I know how you feel, LaBelle. Everything around us looks and feels different now. Nothing has the same meaning anymore. I'm not even sure the past was real. Only today is real. But maybe we will learn from today and come out stronger, better people." A faint smile covers his lips. "My sister, the philosopher, if your philosophy can make you forget about the cold in the house, about your empty stomach, maybe you would like to read me some happy stories." I cuddle up close to keep him warm and read The Adventures of Motel by Shalem Al-Qaim. LaBelle smiles happily, listening to the stories. I touch his head with my lips. "Riva, remember the story where Motel is in trouble with the other boys? The boys want to hit him, and the neighbor yells at him. I lost my spot. For trying to hit an orphan. Motel is so happy, and he says, 'I am lucky, for I am an orphan.' Maybe we are a little bit lucky, too, that we are orphans. Maybe God takes special care of orphans." "Now, who is the philosopher?" I say with a lump in my throat, pulling the blanket closer to his chin. "I wish we had some wood to keep these orphans in here warm." Then LaBelle says, "Remember the oak tree?" We both looked at the ice-covered window, remembering the oak tree. I can still hear Mrs. Gruber shouting. Next week I am sending some men to cut down the oak tree. I don't want you Jews to enjoy the beauty of my tree. The tree is not outside our window any more. It was cut down, but not by Mrs. Gruber's men. The ghetto was closed suddenly, and she did not get the chance to chop down the tree. It was chopped to pieces by the town. No, sorry. I'll do it again. The ghetto was closed suddenly, and she did not get the chance to chop down the tree. It was chopped to pieces by the Jews, whom she wanted to deny the pleasure of beauty of the tree, to keep from freezing. I cried watching the big, strong tree fall, watching it cut to pieces just as our lives had been. Let's sing a happy song to warm ourselves. The bell voice scattered my thoughts. We sing together, the two of us, remembering all those who used to sing with us, watching our warm breath dancing like little white clouds around our heads. Motel looks distraught this evening. He moves restlessly about the house, biting his lips, clenching his fists. Motel, you're moving around like an animal, ready to split open the iron bars of his cage. I wish you could free us with your bare hands, but you cannot. He turns his head and stares at the ice-coated windows. I must get some wood. Look at this heavy layer of ice and snow on the window. You and LaBelle stay all day in this icebox. You will both get pneumonia in here. I must get something to warm up this apartment. There is nothing left in here to use for firewood, Marshall says, looking around the empty rooms. We burned most of our furniture already. Motel, a determined, desperate glow in his eye, silently watches the warm vapors of Marcelle's breath disappear in the cold air. Why don't you all go to bed, LaBelle calls. It is much warmer under a blanket. It is late already. Let's go to sleep, and maybe happy dreams will come during the night and bring warmth and peace to our hearts. Maybe. We follow his advice. At least it will be a warmer bed. The squeak of our front door being slowly opened wakes me. I open my eyes. In the darkness of the room, I see the shadow of a person carrying a bundle in his arms and making his way into the house. Who is it? I whisper, horrified. Shah, Riva. It is I hereby. Motelli's voice. I can't. Shah, Riva. It is I hear Motelli's voice. I got some wood. It will keep us warm. For a few days, some of the men took apart an empty shed. They said, I helped by standing guard. I'd get some of the wood, Riva. No one must know where the wood came from. If we are caught, we are in big trouble. You know what the punishment is for stealing wood? Why did you risk your life? I whisper hoarsely. I had to do it. They must call it stealing. I call it helping my family survive. Every day counts. Remember, no matter what happens, you do not know anything about this wood. Promise? I promise, I say, angry and proud at the same time. For several days, the colorful flames of the wood burning danced cheerfully in our stove and warm apartment, bringing a glow to our pale cheeks. LaBelle and Marcelli hold their hands over the sparkling flames, never asking where the wood came from. They know not to ask questions. I feel panic every little time there is a knock at the door. It's the police. Still, I hope they will not find out. Only a few pieces of wood are left, and soon there will be no trace of the crime. Not a trace. One more warm day, and the evidence will be gone. We keep the pieces of wood hidden like precious jewels. One more day, and we will be safe. But the pounding at the door that evening... But the pounding at the door that evening tells us our luck has just run out. The door tears open. 2 ghetto policemen burst in, shouting, Where is the wood that you stole? Who helped you take the shed apart? Tell us whose idea it was and you'll get off easy. They search every corner of the house. They rip apart the closets, pull the bedding off the beds, search under the mattresses. They stop at LaBelle's bed, look at each other for a moment, and then reach under his mistress. They pull out a piece of wood. Victorious smiles cover their faces. They have won. They have found the evidence. All the time they were searching, I felt Motelli's eyes piercing me, reminding me, you promised. You do not want anything. You promised. Who is the oldest here? One of the policemen asks while taking notes. I am the oldest and the legal guardian of my brothers. My voice is shaking. I feel myself shiver. Well, we'll take you in. Then that boy over there. He points to Motelli, whose ashen face reveals his rage. You two come with us. He takes me by my arm. Leave her alone, Motelli shouts. Can't you see that she is sick? Look at her swollen legs. She can hardly move out. How could she have carried wood? She had nothing to do with this. The policeman looks at me for the first time with pity in his eyes. He shrugs his shoulders and turns to Motelli. Tell us who the leader was. How many were you? Give us their names. We will let them go free. I was all alone. No one helped me. I saw the wood on the ground, and I took it home. My sister and my little brother are both sick. They work at home. They freeze all day. The pieces of wood made them a little bit warmer. Have a heart. Leave us alone. Please, please. Motel's voice is strong and firm. He will not involve anybody else. The policemen look at each other, at each of us, then turn to each other silently. We wait. Sorry, we are really sorry. We had to take Riva in. She is the oldest, and Motelli has to come too, since he took the world. No, you will not take... No, you will not take my sister. Motelli steps forward. She is sick. I will go in her place. The policemen stare at each other. I watch their faces. They hold their lives in their hands. Slowly, they turn toward me. We'll let you all stay home, but Motelli will have to report to the police station tomorrow. He took the wood. He is going to be punished. It all depends on the judgment. We sleep very little that night. What will they do to Motelli? Some people are sent to labor camps for stealing, but he is only a young boy. Will the judge have a heart? Will he feel for us? We whisper our silent prayers. Motelli insists on going in with his brother to give him moral support. LaBelle and I stay home, counting the hours until they return. The day drags on without an end. Horrible thoughts fill our minds. But we do not speak about... I'm sorry. Let me start that paragraph over. Motelli insists on going in with the brothers to give him moral support. LaBelle and I stay home, counting the hours until they return. The days drags on without end. Horrible thoughts fill our minds, but we do not speak about them for fear that they may become real if uttered. Our eyes stay glued to the door. Finally, in the afternoon, we hear the familiar footsteps coming briskly down the hall. The door opens, and there stand out two brothels. They are smiling. Brothers! The door opens, and there stand our two brothers. They are smiling. I am falling asleep. The judge had compassion. He was touched by the courage and devotion of a young child like Motelli. He was impressed by Motelli's moral strength, for he did not reveal the names of the others and thereby saved their lives. The punishment for stealing was deportation to slave labor camps. Motelli's sentence, cleaning the outdoor toilets for 2 weeks. I will continue in a separate recording.